Hi friends, it's Mrs. McCarver and it's time for today's math lesson. Now, if you remember, yesterday we did some work listening to sounds and then we used our fingers and cubes to represent the sounds we heard. Representing parts of a math story or math problem is the first step to showing our understanding. Now, usually when you're given a math problem or situation, you are working to solve it. That means you're finding an answer to a question usually. So today we're going to take those sound situations we listened to and represented yesterday, and we're going to solve them. I bet some of you already started this work yesterday. So the first situation we had yesterday, the first set of sounds was this. And we talked about how we could represent that with our cubes, maybe one purple cube for a clap and one yellow cube for the snap. Now, if we're going to solve this problem, I want you to answer the question, how many sounds did you hear? So if this was our representation of the sounds, here's our representation. How many sounds did you hear? I bet you just said the number 2. That seems very easy, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because when you look at these cubes, you probably didn't even need to count them. You were able to subitize. Remember, that means to look at them and know right away how many there are. Boom, there are 2. Same thing if I would have showed you on my fingers. Clap, snap. How many fingers? 2. You can subitize that. So that's one way we might have been able to solve that problem. Okay, let's try one that's a little harder. How about this? Can you get your cubes out and represent that with me? This is what it sounded like again. Okay, let's see. I'm going to represent it. I hope you're doing it with me. Represent the claps. How many were there? There were 2. And then represent the snaps. How many were there? 1. Now, if my question for you is, how many sounds did you hear? What do we need to do with the claps and the snaps to know how many sounds there were? We could put it together. You're right. Because if we're wanting to know how many sounds we heard, we're putting the claps and the snaps together. So now, how many sounds did we hear? What could I do to figure that out? I heard that you said count them. 1, 2, 3. You're right. 3 sounds. I also know some of you know that 2 and 1 more is 3. That's another way we could figure this out. All right, let's look at our last problem from yesterday. I'm going to do the sounds again, and then your job is to represent those sounds just like we did yesterday. But today I want you to solve and answer the question, how many sounds did you hear? Listen again. How many sounds did you hear? So I need you to send me a video showing me how you would represent that with your cubes or your fingers and solve that. Tell me, how many sounds did you hear?